Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. There are some remarks made by Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga, a very close Rigathi Gachagua ally. Let's have a look at the remarks, for they are going to inform the basis of our analysis right now. Don't engage Raila. Kahiga Mutahi tells President Ruto. Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has urged President William Ruto to abandon the national dialogue aimed at resolving issues raised by young protesters and instead focus on addressing the concerns of Generation Z. Speaking at the county's annual department performance contract signing ceremony, Mr. Kahiga criticized the president's decision to engage the opposition regarding the issues raised by the young protesters, calling the move outdated. Mr. President, wake up and smell the coffee. I have listened to you, and those are outdated methods. The idea of bringing in Mr. Raila Odinga is something that Kenyans grew tired of long ago. He has been brought in too many times. The same applies for Kalonzo Musyoka. This is a new era, and I know you read the Bible. New wine and old wine skins don't mix. If we are dealing with new wine, we need new wine skins, he said. He also advised the president to consult with his deputy and the cabinet to find modern and innovative ways to address concerns raised by Kenyans. He noted that the seclusion of DP Rigathi by the government has only strengthened its bond with the electorate and urged President Ruto to allow the deputy to perform his constitutional duties with the respect befitting the office. We request the president to allow his DP to be who he was elected to be during the August 9, 2022 elections, he said. During the ceremony, which was attended by managing directors of the 5 water service providers, WSP in the county and county government staff, Mr. Kahiga also criticized politicians who have allegedly sidelined the deputy president. Thus, Mr. Kahiga, he's telling the president not to engage Raila Odinga, but instead the president should sit down with Rigathi Gachagua and the cabinet. He made those remarks yesterday before William Ruto sacked his cabinet. I want us to dig deep into this for Kenyans to understand the high-octane politics being played here as Gen Z piles pressure on William Ruto's government. Politicians here are cleverly trying to hijack the whole process and the whole demonstrations to use them to their advantage. And I want to explain for Kenyans to understand the games being played here. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Let's proceed. We have seen Raila Odinga calling for dialogue. We have seen William Ruto's allies calling for dialogue. We are seeing Rigathi rejecting dialogue. And we also saw Kalonzo Musyoka rejecting dialogue. What's happening here? Raila Odinga is calling for dialogue because he sees that as an opportunity where he can get some positions in the government. He can get a share of the government, or his allies can get a share of the government. That's why he's calling for dialogue. William Ruto and his allies are also for dialogue because they believe Raila Odinga can save them from the current political situation in the country. That's why they're talking of government of national unity. And members of parliament, more so coming from the Kalenjin Rift Valley, they are very vocal in that they want William Ruto to form a government of national unity. Rigathi is against that, and is against that because in the event Raila Odinga comes into the government, then he will be kicked out of that government. That's why Rigathi Gachagua and his allies are against this whole thing of talks, dialogue. Kalonzo Musyoka is against the talks because if you look at Kalonzo's recent political activities, I'm seeing a man who is warming up to working with Rigathi Gachagua. Sometimes he shared a podium with Rigathi Gachagua where he said that should an impeachment motion be brought against Rigathi, they'll not support that impeachment motion. That was Kalonzo Musyoka speaking some weeks back. So I'm seeing a Kalonzo Musyoka who is angling to work with the Rigathi Gachagua. And if you look at Kalonzo and Rigathi Gachagua, in the event they decide to work together, then I'm seeing a Kalonzo Musyoka who will play a second fiddle to Rigathi Gachagua. So Kalonzo's call is just to empower Rigathi Gachagua. That's what I'm seeing. And to Raila Odinga's call, I don't think William Ruto, even though he's the president, he can contain or compromise Raila Odinga. I'm seeing a Raila Odinga who, in the event they decide to form a government with Ruto, in the event they do that, I don't think William Ruto can easily compromise Raila Odinga. Should he try that, then that government will burst. I think that's what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen. The only problem with Kenyans, we don't want to speak the truth. What I've said is the truth. Kalonzo seems to be embracing Rigathi Gachagua, and should that embrace materialize, he will most definitely play a second fiddle to Rigathi. Raila, on his part, is trying to embrace Ruto, maybe can get some positions, or his allies can get some positions in the government. And we also know William Ruto cannot compromise Raila Odinga. We've followed Raila Odinga for so many years, and we can predict what will happen. Why do I support a government of national unity or this dialogue? Because very many of our fans here are against me saying that I support that. If Raila Odinga enters into any form of a government with William Ruto, then the bond between the mountain and the Kalenjin nation will have been broken. And if that bond is broken, then that can be the end of two ethnic tribes' domination against other Kenyans. Because since independence, it has been two tribes rotating power between themselves. If that dialogue leads into a William Ruto Raila forming government, that national unity government, then that bond can be broken. And for the first time, we might see the end to two ethnic tribes rotating power between themselves. And again, that government can send some hard lessons to a section of Kenyans who, every time of elections, they vote out of emotions and hate for other politicians. On the mountain, for example, you just had to abuse Raila Odinga and the Luo community for you to get elected. And in 2022, they supported Ruto and rejected Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta because Uhuru supported Raila Odinga. So they supported Ruto because Ruto was against Raila Odinga. If Ruto embraces Raila Odinga, then a lesson will have been learned. And if a lesson will not have been learned, then nothing will save them. So I support that because it will send a very clear message that don't vote because of hate or don't vote out of emotions. That's why I support it. And that can also just help in fulfilling some of the demands by Gen Zs. The tribal leaders in this government, the shareholding leaders, they can be removed and they can be replaced by other leaders who represent the face of Kenya. And again, on that, you are seeing that our demands, our desires will have been achieved. And most importantly, if you remove Rigathi from Ruto's government, it's almost certain you've weakened Ruto. And Rigathi can also now help us even in removing William Ruto the moment he's out of government. So we must support all these two processes. We must support Gen Zs. They should continue protesting on the streets demanding for Ruto to go. As that happens, dialogue should also be taking place. We must also remove these tribalists from this government. Let us push that and also push the Gen Z thing. All these are just helping us in achieving what we desire. If you look at these sentiments by Mutahi Kahiga, Mutahi is just confirming that they are rebelling because William Ruto is not interested in working with them. That's why they are rebelling. In the event William Ruto extends an olive branch to them, they will fully support Ruto, and we might even start seeing Rigathi Gachagua being even more brutal on these protesters. We remember what he did last year. So these remarks by Mutahi Kahiga just goes on to confirm that they are protesting because William Ruto has not extended an olive branch to them. Should Ruto extend that olive branch, they'll support William Ruto's government in full. And the bad rule, the bad governance we have seen in the past 2 years will just continue. And I also believe that a split between Ruto and Rigathi is good for the country. So let's just support Gen Z's protesting on the streets. Let's also just support dialogue. All these are good for the nation. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Any person watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video a like. I'm only calling for dialogue in order for Kenya Kwanza to split in the middle. A Kenya Kwanza split in the middle is good for this country. We should not be people who forget things very fast. The face of impunity in William Ruto's government, immediately that government was sworn in, that face has been Rigathi Gachagua. If an opportunity arises where is to be kicked out of that government, that's an excellent opportunity. An opportunity we must grab. After he has been kicked out of that government, he will help us in kicking out William Ruto. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. Let me stop it there. God bless you. God bless Kenya.